Hi, everybody. Today I'm going to talk to you about the ENTP and ENTP relationship. Yeah, I said it. You probably looked at that and thought I made a mistake, but I didn't. I mean, when there's a friendship or a relationship that involves two ENTPs. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about friendship and I'm also going to talk about romance. I think when it comes to romance, of course, people are more vulnerable, they're more sensitive, so that could change things, that could increase tension. I'm also going to tell you some positives. I'm going to tell you some negatives. So if you want to scroll through the negatives, you don't want to hear those. It's probably going to be midway through, and then I'm going to give some suggestions at the end. But as far as a friendship goes, these two can make fantastic friends. I can hear the laughter already because they're going to feel so understood. They're going to get each other. If they're in a relationship with someone else that's a different Myers-Briggs type and things aren't just going so smoothly, that friendship is going to be a place where they're like, wow, like we are so cool. Like we are having so much fun together. We can joke the same way. We have the same sense of humor or a similar sense of humor. And it just feels good to be understood. I think they can be really good listeners with each other when there's a problem and know where each other's coming from. And I think they can also give each other some pointers to help them in different situations. I think in some cases, if these two friends are really comfortable with each other, discussing a variety of topics, there could be some moments where it gets really heated because just because they're the same MBTI type doesn't mean that they can't have differing opinions about different subjects. Because one of the fun things about ENTPs is that you can talk about a variety of topics with them. Some may be controversial, so things could get pretty heated in some situations, so they just have to be aware of that. But overall, I think this could make a really, really good friendship. So let's talk about romance. Yeah. I will say this. I am picturing some ENTPs in my head right now that are phenomenal mates. In a romantic situation, they're not going to have any trouble understanding each other, and they're going to be very curious and interested about people. So they're not going to mind digging deep and really understanding and learning about each other's lives. They're both going to be very perceptive and also love socializing, or at least be good at it. And they can be very charming and engaging and like meeting new people and having a variety of friendships. They are possibility people. They're both intuitive, so they're going to like new ideas. And then you add that P to that, and it adds to the variety. And they both will be good at figuring out creative solutions to solving problems. And the good thing is, they may enjoy some of the same activities with each other. They can both really encourage each other to strive for their best, and they can be free to be themselves, and they can be really encouraging to each other. Now keep in mind that even though they're the same Myers-Briggs type, does not mean that they're going to be exactly alike. There are other things that come into play, like we've got Enneagrams 1 through 9. You put those on top of an MBTI type, and it changes how that type looks. Then you have to consider love languages, and it's going to color something different. So they're still going to have some interesting, unique things to explore about each other. So because they are the same types, you got to remember that they're going to also reflect each other's weaknesses or shortcomings. So just remember that NT temperament is a very strong temperament. So ENTPs can get in a lane of being critical, but when they criticize each other, it can really be hurtful to them. Because remember, in relationships, that's when we can be our most vulnerable. We can be 20 times more sensitive, but then we can also be brutally honest sometimes with our mates. because ENTPs pride themselves in being competent and reliable. And so coming face to face with someone who's questioning that can really bother them. They can also begin to question each other or become suspicious of each other's motives. If both ENTPs struggle with details because they're not sensors, they're intuitive, or organization skills, or that's just something that they're not interested in because they're focused on their next big idea and they want to get into it, doing those mundane type chores like paying bills or keeping appointments, that could become laborious and boring as heck. So they may have to sit down and actually decide who's doing what. Like, you pay the bills this month, I pay them next month, or I'm in charge of the bills, you're in charge of appointments. And that way, there's no confusion. It doesn't open the door for any friction or frustration or blame. It's taken care of. And they can both be in charge of some things that they don't want to do so that it frees up space for both of them to do more things that they really enjoy doing. And by the way, I do know some ENTPs who are great at doing some mundane tasks. Like, I know one ENTP who does the grocery shopping in his house every single month because he wants to keep that under control. I know another couple where they have a rule that whoever's in charge of the bills at the end of the month, they say, don't do any big spending. We're running low on funds. Got to make sure we pay the bills. So don't buy anything big. Slow it down a little bit. And that way, you're giving each other a heads up. Because ENTPs sometimes, some of them, like to be able to spend freely and enjoy themselves and establish some checks and boundaries so that there are not any problems later. And that really goes for any couples. ENTPs are known for being the great debaters of the MBTI world, but in a relationship, you want to be a little bit sensitive to that. It's okay to debate, but you don't want to do it to the point where it's not fun or someone shuts the other one out because you don't agree with me. You don't want it to get to the point where it takes away from the fun. ENTPs are naturally competitive. They are ambitious people. They're very focused on whatever their goals are and driven towards them. So you don't want your mate to feel like you don't care about anything except for blah, blah, blah. So always remember to keep your mate in mind. Neither of these types are feelers, so because it's a romantic relationship, you might have to take the time to look at some emotional issues that are hidden or that are going on or that one person is upset about and not just sweep that under the rug, because that could be what heals your relationship. Revealing shortcomings might be a sensitive area for ENTPs, but no one is perfect. It's hard to be vulnerable sometimes, but sometimes you have to just say, hey, I messed up, or be the first one to apologize. It's okay. It's part of the relationship. So here's a few tips for keeping your relationship fun and strong. Remember that you need to spend time together so that you can increase your connection with each other. So always make time for that. You might have to be more aware of time and important appointments so that you can keep each other on track if that's an area that you struggle with. Now, there are some ENTPs that are fantastic at being on time. So if that's not an area that you struggle with, great. But if it is, then you want to put some things into place to help with that. Make sure that you give each other positive feedback, let each other know when you're doing something good or that you're working hard or you're doing a good job. Accept each other's solutions to problems at times without having to question or make them better. You want to also celebrate and enjoy each other's victories and hey, a win for one of you is a win for both of you. It doesn't mean that, uh-oh, she did something great, so now I have to do something great. Just accept it as it is. And remember to share in tasks and responsibilities that you don't necessarily like to do. You might want to take turns, but when one spouse does something for the other, make sure that you let the other one know that you really appreciate their efforts and it means a lot to you. So, and then also when you make decisions or when you are trying something new or taking on a new project or taking steps to do something that you've never done before, make sure that you consult with your partner and make sure that, hey, is this cool with you? And if it isn't, then you know what? Sometimes we all have to give in and say, okay, I'll let you win this time. Overall, I think this is a relationship that could really work well and just focus on the fact that you guys are going to be on the same page about so many things and you can have a really good time together. So, if you'd like to see more videos like this, hit the thumbs up button. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching Tams PsychAdvice. Bye.